Okay, so my friends, before starting this lecture today, you are going to look into what are the job opportunities and why you are learning policies and policy making or even social research in this course. Okay, instead of just again showing you graphs, I'm just bringing you to the site which is owned by Government of Canada, and this is, you can just type gc.jobs.ca. So I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Jobs, GC, I think. No. Sorry. Jobs, gc.ca. Exactly. And then you will be able to scroll down. That's what I'm going to do. And then to click on search for government jobs. Okay, you can do it with me or you can do it later. Now, it's taking time. Okay, perfect. Now you just write here policy. And then, not policy, sorry, policy. My keyboard is a Bluetooth and sometimes it does type 2 times instead of one. Location, okay, I would say Toronto, why not? And then I'm just going to search the job, and this is going to show me several jobs. But what is very interesting is that policies are documents that are plans. We pre-plan actions, and we do this in order to control different processes in the society. This may be economic, this may be social, this may be about social services. It goes on and on and on. We'll go over this in week, I think, 10 or 11. And then what happens is that we need people to do research on, for example, the need of new immigrants in Canada for 2022, or the need of people for have I would say maybe a financial aid because of COVID in 2022. So for this, we need to have people who do research like you, because you're being trained for that. And then we are asking them to now come up with a protocol looking into how they're going to do some research, and then to ask them to perform the research and giving us the result with an analysis, so that the decisions made by the government, by different commissions in the Senate or in the House of Commons, for example, they are going to be toward the directions that you already shown beforehand, so that we will be able to write policies. And each organization, each ministry, everywhere in the world, they write policies as well. And those policies are always based on the research performed by people who are doing research like you, so research analysts as well. Now, let me scroll down just to look at, oh, I think you saw the salaries. Look at the first one, $89,000 to $106,000. And they are not asking you to have PhDs, okay? This is just for those who are like you, those who are able to do research, to understand the interactions between people, society, and the government, and then we'll be able to set some rules, writing new policies in order to give better services to the population. Now look into others. Okay, those who can scroll down more, you can look. 82 to $102,000, 82 to $101,000. Oh my God, it goes on and on and on. This one goes from 98 to $125,000 per year. Okay, is it just these are jobs for government of Canada? So you need to be a permanent resident or, of course, a citizen. But you may say, okay, Peivand, perfect, we understood, but how about if you don't want to work for the government? Of course, you may not want to work for the government. And here you do have some other jobs in different areas again. Now, this may be research for the or for the marketing, Of course, this can be done. It can be for healthcare. It can be research for a drug, for a product. When I was at Wyeth, for example, we have been, yes, paying IMS for lots of money because they were giving us very, very interesting, I would say, research results and analysis on the market, and all of the products, the new products, the payments, the advertisements, they were based on the market research that were done by research analysts. So, okay, so there are jobs out there. That's why you are here. I don't know how many people we have here, but we have hundreds of students in the program, and they are all being placed because this is what we need. We need thinkers. We need people who do research, and they can translate their research. That's why you are here. Perfect. You may tell me, look, I should be in sales. I know, maybe I should be in sales. I'm really promoting this program, but I'm not promoting the program. I'm promoting the field itself because we need that. Okay, so now that you know about this, I'm going to, okay, perfect. Course outline after. For now, I'm just going to go over the structure of the website. I know that many of you already saw that. You checked the structure of the website, but I will still go over that. So here you do have the course content on the right side, of course, of the website, where you can always click on the, I have to just check this one here. Can I see that? No, why I cannot see everything? Sorry, I'm just to maximize my screen to be able to see. Okay, perfect. Now I can see that. So here for the course outline, you can always open or close these menu items, and you do have several menu items. I close this one. For each week, you do have one item that you can open by clicking on the arrow here on the direction on the right side of that section. So now the first one is your course outline. Please keep your course outlines, all of them, because when you're going to do maybe a master's degree or a PhD, or maybe in another university or college you would like to do some other trainings, you may see that there are some courses that are very similar to the courses that you already completed here with us. So you may want to apply for a transfer of credit for this course. In this case, all of the colleges and universities, they do have that service where students and applicants, they are going to apply for a transfer of a credit, and they need to give some documentation. The documentation that they need is, of course, the proof that you completed that course, but they also need the course outline. Sometimes we call that course addendum. Okay, sometimes it's called syllabus. They're all the same to me. And you need to have these in order to try to show that there have been minimum at least 70% homology between the content of the course that you have completed and the course that it is existing in the master's program, for example, so that you will have an exemption and you will not complete that course 2 times in the new place. So this is important. Now, when you click on the outline, oh, by the way, for the academic calendar, this is where you can, for example, if you want to leave this course, for example, when is the deadline, when you will be reimbursed, when you will not be reimbursed if you're leaving the course. Anyways, I'm not that much into this information, but I told myself that this is interesting to know exactly what are the deadlines or academic calendar for you, so I put it here. Now for the outline, you can click on it. I did already, so I'm not going to click here, but I'm going to show you what you can see when you click on the content in the course outline. This is what you will be able to see. Okay, perfect. I don't know why you have the course content at the top. It's okay, I just leave it here. So for the course outline, this is type of contract between you and I. And of course, here we talk about the school, about, again, what I'm sure you already saw that before. Of course, you did. The rationale of the course, what we are covering. So everything is here. So we will cover each and every of these points here. And then course learning methods, we had it as well. There are many cases that we are going to see. And you're going to see that you do not have written exams. You do have discussions and assignments, because at your level, we are not, as in an entry level, we are not asking you to define different terms or learn about the terms. You already know them, or you know where to go to understand those, or I would say to know the definition of the terms. But when you are, again, you need to communicate, you are able to communicate. And for the procedures, for example, same thing, or I would say the systems that may exist. I'm not going to ask you any more questions in an exam. I would prefer that we work on discussions and on assignments. This is why, again, we have to see each other in class. If you have time, that would be lovely. I will be there anyways, and we are going to work together in teams. So let me scroll down, and okay, so these are your assessments. Okay, you do have a sectoral policy analysis group project. For the groups, I am not going to impose to anyone to form any group. Some professors say, for example, that they believe that they should ask you who should be with who, because it would be like mimicking the work environment where we are asking few people to work together. This is valid, I know. But to me, you are at the stage where you need to be able to work, peacefully with people that you think that you feel good to work, for example. So I just leave it this way, and this is the way that I manage the course. So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, to push everyone to be specific with specific people. Now, if you would like to again form your group, know already some students. If not, just in the chat, you can just continue to chat. If I see that you're talking or chatting about who would like to join your group, I'm not, of course, going to respond, but be free to use that in the chats. If not, in the next classes as well, you'll be able to chat and you'll be able to form your group. Now, if you want to do these assignments alone, do it alone. If you think that you are 4 people and one of the people, for example, students, is not having enough time to pay attention more, or to, again, contribute as much as others they're expecting the person to do, okay, this is your group. You can just finish the program, the group again, as a 3-student group, but let the 4th person, that the person is not anymore in the group, for example, and the person has to do his or her assignment alone or with another group. These things I leave it to you, because I just want to spend my time, our time, for understanding these things. So anything regarding human interactions or participation or teamwork, I leave it to you. Okay, then we have written assignments, social structure reflection, these are reflections, then marketing theory and concept test. Again, it's not a test, but you will see this an assignment. Then research methodology case study, because you are going to have a case study as well. Then you are going to have to choose a business, and then to do a pestle and SWOT analysis. What is that? We are going to go over this again 2 or 3 weeks before. Now the deadlines, I'm going to show you later where are all of the deadlines, because some students in the previous section with the same course, they couldn't find those the schedule. I'm going to show them to you after this I would say these explanations. And then you have a business planning and evaluation critique. What is that? You're going to use only the template from Bank of Business Development Canada, which is a free kit. You can also go now and again subscribe for free, but I even removed that step for you. So you don't want to, if you don't want to subscribe, I am already sharing with you the template that they're using. And we are going to spend two classes in order to go over how to write a business proposal. Why? That's because a business proposal has different components. One of them is the business. In order to start a business, you need to know the society, you need to know the structures, you need to know the government, the rules. The second one is looking into a market segment. In order to be able to know who is going to buy your products or your services, you need to be able to know, again, the interactions between people and again societies, with corporations, with the government as well. So, and again, so on and so on. So there are so many components. I would say each and every section of the business proposal is dealing with one activity in market research. Okay, so what I want is that we, of course, you can start now if you would like to, but when we are going to start, we are going to go over those, I mean, each and every section of the business proposal. I'm going to explain this to you. I also added, of course, an example, okay, because sometimes some of you did not see those before, so I'm not going to discuss on something that you have never seen before. It doesn't make sense. It's like asking you to write a report, but you have never seen a similar report in your life. Okay, you're just confused. We are going to have different types of, I don't know, covers, different types of fonts, different type of information, because people become confused. No, I gave you an example, and we are going to again explain this. The aim is to make you familiar so that you will be functional. It can really work. Someone comes to you and say, you know what, I would like to know, for example, who is going to buy this, okay, so that you can start based on your knowledge. You're going to start, okay, to see, okay, where I should go, where are the rules I should find, where are the laws that I have to find, where are the policies that I have to find, what are the interactions, what type of information for the market I need. And so I need to have these 5-6 different activities, and then you're going to come up with different tasks, different milestones, and then you're going to write your, again, project, looking into finding data, or it may be existing data or through the surveys, and then you're going to do your research, and then you're going to do the analysis of the research. This is something that you will almost every day, okay, not every day, every 2 days, but this is what you're going to do. Okay, so we will go over the business proposal just to understand it. Now for the pest and SWOT analysis, the same thing. This is business, I know, but what you do is business, and those businesses are hiring you, my friends. So you need to be able to understand what they are doing, what are their needs, and then how you are going to come up with solutions. That's because they are paying you to give them solutions. So how are you going to do research in order to find better solutions so that those companies, those institutions, those ministries, those governments, they are able to deliver the right service, lower cost, higher quality, and of course, continue to do this every, I don't know, as long as we exist, we are going to need research analysis. Okay, perfect. So for the modules, so for today and next week, we are going to look into the government, enterprise, community, and the individual. And of course, for the first lecture that I'm going to cover now, not now, in maybe 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about this. Again, I'm not going to read all of each and every slide of the PowerPoint, but we're going to discuss about what is in. And I just want you to understand, now you know that you're not going to have, cumbersome assignments or cumbersome weekly quizzes and tests or final tests where we may sometimes even test your memory. Here, it's much more understanding and application, and we are working on cases, discussing together, and coming up with solutions. And you will need to do exactly the same iteration later in your job. I hope that you will enjoy this class. I hope so. Anyway, we'll work on that together. Still, if you have any concern, any issue, you see, I'm open. You see, with me, you get what you see, or you see what you get. But what I'm saying is that just let me know, okay? Send me emails, or maybe even in class. I don't have any issue if I'm criticized in the class neither, because I'm here to give you, again, a quality teaching. And you're expecting us to give you a quality learning. Perfect. So this is the rest. You can just read for different modules. Now I'm going back to the content. For the content, when you scroll down, I'm just going first to close the course outline, and I'm going to look into other modules. You do have, I think, 12 or 13 modules. And then when you open the week 1 module for this week, today, you can now look into different components for today's learning. One of them is your lecture note that I'm going to open in 10 minutes. One of them is the discussion number 1, where I'm asking you a question, asking you to watch a video or maybe reading a text, and then to respond to some question. Now, sometimes these are simple questions. Sometimes these are questions on again a type of reflection. And again, don't go too far. Again, just 1 or 2 paragraphs would be sufficient. The reason why I give them to you is to assimilate better the content of the course and for you to be able to communicate using the terms that we use in social research. That's why. Okay. And then you have also discussion number 2. For the deadlines, I will show them everything in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, yes. So discussion. And then, of course, you have an assignment. Again, you're going to read the assignment and you're going to start working on the assignment. This is for week 1. Maybe here I can just show you now. Why not? Okay, here. Oh, I have to change this. Okay, this is an error here. So question number 1, these 2 should be 1. Okay, what's a social role? Give examples. So you're going to write your answers here. Okay, here. And the second question, number 2, it should be number 2. How do ascribed and achieved statuses serve to identify who a person is in a culture? Again, you're going to answer to this question in a paragraph maximum. And this is just for pushing you to reflect on these definitions. That's why. And again, 10 points, 5 points. You see, points are for me just this is for the academia to just show that you did the job, the work. However, the main thing is that you understand, because based on these definitions, we are going to have discussions and we are going to understand better the case study and your assignments at the end of the semester. So, sorry, I'm going to come back and so same thing for government, enterprise, then week 3, week 4, all of these, you can just click on the right side and you will be able to see all of these assignments. Now, your question is, Peivand, where can I find the deadlines? Deadlines are on Gradebook. On the top of this website, you do have a menu. The top menu is giving the calendar for the courses, discussions. This is where, of course, all of the discussions are there again already. The gradebook. Click on the gradebook, okay, and you will see. Oh my God, I have 2 people now who did finish the discussions. Thank you so much. It's lovely. I will do this as soon as I can. No, look, the due dates are 1st of March. Why? That's because on 11th of March, I have to give your midterm mark or evaluation to Humber. This is why I need to have some time. I think I have 60, 70 students just for this class or both classes. I need to have some time to read everything of the assignments as well. So I did set the deadline or the due date for these dates. Please respect them, because you will respect my time as well. And at the same time, you need to do that because you have to manage your time as well. So if you are penalized because you are late for a few days, that's because this is the penalty for not managing well your learning time. Okay, so please manage well from the very beginning, from today. That's why our friends who already did that, I think I congratulate you. I'm so happy that those, I'm sure they know that this is not difficult. This is just a very simple exercise just to go over the definitions, because you read, you understand, and when you write about that, it stays forever in your mind. That's why. Okay, so now that you have all of these different due dates, other due dates are also, of course, here. So everything is clear for everyone, I know. For the discussions, these are the discussions. So if you think that you would like just to go over the discussion and again complete them, you just go here and you will just find the discussion and you're going to complete them. Now you also have assignments. Don't forget that, but we'll go over the assignments in the next weeks. Okay, coming back to the course content here, I am now going to open your PowerPoint. And if you're okay, since it's going to take maybe 10 minutes maximum, and then we'll end the class. If you're okay, we don't have, I don't give you any break. Okay, I just want to keep the momentum if you're okay. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So let's go over the week number 1, government and enterprise and community. And here I'm just going to open the lecture notes. The lecture notes, here I have to open that, download original file. I don't think Firefox is not going to open. No, I have to find a plugin for this. So let me just open with PowerPoint. Now I'm going to ask you to, again, oh, it's working. Oh my God, you can. I was going to say, sorry, it's not working, but it's working. Perfect. Okay. So let's go over this now in this case. So when you are going to look into your book chapters, which is a free book, I didn't talk about it, but I'm so happy and surprised for finding such a good quality of, say, of books that are available to the public for free. This is just lovely. And so this is just one of the books that we are going to use. Mainly this one is the main one. For the others, I already gave you in the syllabus several I would say references. This is just for those who would like to learn more about the topic of this course. I did my best so that you wouldn't buy anything, because I think we can also find I would say documents that are free, especially if you're doing the policy exercise. You're going to see that everything is for free. I mean, all of the information about the policies, they're all online, they're all in the governmental websites. So that is going to be very simple for you to find and not very, again, costly. Okay, so now let's go over the introduction, which is understanding economic system and the business. So there's one slide that I would like to, again, find right now, but before reaching to that slide, I'm going to talk about, again, I'm going to talk about the introduction. Okay, so first one is that these are the learning outcomes for this, again, a lecture. So I'm not going to go over each and every of those, but the main thing is that you understand the relationship between the government, companies, and people. That's why we talk about social research. Now, here you do have some concept checks, like, for example, again, explain the concept of revenue, cost, and profit. I want you to be able to test yourself. Do you know about these things? Can you talk about these? So these are, again, things that, terms that you need to understand and you need to talk about. So please refer to the book, to the definitions, and make sure that you understand. I mean, you can, when you ask you what's the revenue, what's the cost, and what's the profit, again, what does it mean? Why? The why is that when we are going to write our business proposal in week 9 together, of course, you are going to have a specific business. Each group is going to have one business. Of course, you decide which one, what type of business. It's important because for the revenues, we do have to give some services or some products, so that on the other side, the person or the organization is ready to pay for the service or for the product. So now we can have quality products or services where we can expect to get some revenue. Now you also have the cost, because when you are having again a quality service or product, you also have to pay for this. Now a business is profitable when the cost for again making or offering a service or a product is lower than the revenue that we gain. And then the profit that we have at the end is going to allow the companies not to buy 6 houses or 4 Lamborghinis or 200 yachts, but not at all. This is for expanding the business, and this is for expanding the economy, hiring more people, giving more facilities to the population, to individuals. And here you understand now the role of governments for the policies, for example, for the revenue, or for example, for pricing management, or managing the inflation, or managing even the volume of the money that exists in a society, and the activity that people or even the government they are doing or producing the service or products then they receive a revenue, and if the cost is lower than the revenue, then they make a profit. At the end, the profit we pay, corporations, we pay 20% of our profit every year, up to $200,000. This is for Canada. And of course, if it's more than $200,000, then again, there are other formula for paying taxes from the profit, not the revenue. Now, I'm talking about, of course, the corporations. Now, what is interesting is that there are policies for example, having different revenues and types of revenues, or, for example, for, I would say, controlling the costs. We also have policies for, again, calculating the profit, how to calculate it, or how we are going to receive taxes, at what percentage for which type of activities. And you will see that now, based on what the government is deciding, we are going to, for example, put more emphasis on healthcare 1 year, and then less in agriculture. And the other day, we are going to put more emphasis on the agriculture, and maybe less, not less, half of that, I mean 2-3% less, but less on the healthcare. Or we are always going to be, I would say, to divide, I would say, equally all of the budget to different systems in the society. Okay, again, what I'm telling you is very simplist for now, because we don't need to go too much into detail. I'm just talking about the big picture. Then, of course, you're going to please read the book chapter number 1, and they're going to talk about the 4 factors of the production, and then they are going to talk about another factor. And one of the topics of the discussion for you is, what is another factor that you think should be there? Okay, so the 4 factors for production are usually land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. But there is also a 5th factor. And what I'm asking you is to read that, also watch the video. The video that you see here, the link doesn't work, by the way. But when you go to the discussion number 1, you can watch the video, and you can then be able to respond to what is that 5th factor of production. Something which is also interesting is that these are discussions, but you cannot read what other students they are saying. You have to post first. And once you have posted, so you did contribute into this community or class knowledge, then you will be able to read what your peers they wrote about. If you are interested, do it. If you are not, okay, at least you did the job on your own, or from your own side. I'm happy with that. But if you would like to do some discussions with your friends, do it. Okay, I'm not going to monitor that, because this is really learning from each other. I'm going to read those anyways, and I'm going to learn from you, and you are also going to learn from each other. And again, when you come back to class again the next week, you may not have time to come, it's okay. But when you come to class for questions and for discussions, then we can drill down, go deep into some discussions like COVID, like petrodollars, for example, like, I don't know, like social isolations, for example, the effect on people, the effect on the society, the effect on governments, or what governments are doing to the society based on what's happening. These are all things that we need to understand, because we are in social research, and the knowledge, all of these different type of interactions that we have in class are going to help us to understand more next topics that we are going to work on as a research analyst. You see now what is the connection. Okay, this is why. So again, please read well, go over the course materials before coming to class. If you can come, and if you would like to, that would be lovely, of course. And then I'm going to start the next, of course, next week. I'm going to start to say, okay, the topic for today is this. So is there any question, any discussion? And then we can talk. Okay, by the way, I let you know something also. Whatever I'm going to tell you is going to be my personal beliefs. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I will not be the only person talking. Okay, the aim is not you sitting there listening to me saying whatever I would like to say. This is not learning. Okay, the aim is to work together. So all at the same level, we are all having our ideas. We're all here to learn from each other. I just manage your learning. I will just manage the way that discussions are happening. Okay, just make sure that we are always on the right track related to the course outline. That's it. The rest, we will be able to talk, and I invite you to come to discuss. We are going to learn a lot, if you can, of course. Okay, then the second one, or discussion. So this is the discussion questions that you're going to need to talk about and finish your discussion. So again, so far I had two people. Thank you so much for completing those. I'm going to read them today with high interest, of course, just to learn as well. And now the concept checks, you continue to define the components of the internal and the external business environments, and then, sorry, etc. And then here, for example, it's not difficult to look at these, for example, these type of pictures, or again, the exhibits. Internal environments, these are entrepreneurs, managers, workers, customers, but also policies, also procedures, the quality systems. These are all of the different factors in the internal environment for, again, any business environment, anything. And the same thing now applies, the same vision, type of vision applies to external environment. So you as a business, even you as a person, okay, the same thing applies. What we are learning here, so research in society, can be research on your own life as well, just to make your life better, just to fine-tune your goals, and of course to make it more effective. Any activity that you're doing during the day, so that everything, whatever you're doing, is going to go toward the goals that you would like to reach. And once you reach your goals through the targets, then you are going to feel happy. And this is what we want. We want people to be happy by reaching their goals in life. Perfect. So now coming back, the social environment, what you need to understand is that when you are looking into if I want you to write a policy, for example, or if I want you to do some research, it is always dealing with one of these different external or internal environments. It may be, please let me tell me about the economy, or tell me about what's the influence of the economy now, or the perception of the COVID on the way that people are buying gold in the next 10 years, for example. So here, this is political, legal, this is economy, this is global, this is social and demographic as well. Because it's demographic, because if you have more people, maybe you're going to buy more gold. If this is political or legal, maybe we are going to say to people, you cannot buy gold anymore, because gold is just a metal, and you need to keep your money and put that into for example, into the capitals, where we'll be able to have more money in the banks, or I don't know, in different organizations, so that they will be able to expand, for example. Okay, so this is one. Or, for example, influence of talk to us about what type of technology we should use in the next 10 years in order to be able to respond to all of the requests from people for the healthcare services. In this case, you're going to look into social, demographic, political, global as well, and then technological. And of course, you may say, okay, of course, but you also say a part of economy. You are right, but what I'm saying is that when you are being given a project, look into different factors. That's what you can do. And when you're looking to those different factors, now you're going to again use them as a basis for the way that you're going to write your research protocol, and you're going to use your materials and your methods, and then how you're going to analyze, what tables you're going to create, what graphs you're going to create, what would be the number of, I don't know, participants in your surveys, for example, from which market segment, even what are your market segments. So everything comes from this very, very simple that you see here. And then after this, okay, external business environment, you have a discussion number 2 here, so I'm not going to go over that. I would like just to, okay, this is for the economic system in the world. So capitalism, communism, socialism, you heard about those and you learned about those as well in the program as well. Still, if you want to know more, come with your questions next week. But I assumed as of today that you all heard about these systems, that you had some discussions related to what these systems can do in the society, and what are the influence, I would say, of this type of different types of ideologies in the relationship between people, corporations, and the government. If not, again, come back next week with your questions. We'll be able to discuss capitalism, communism, and socialism. And of course, again, it's not a political science here, okay? We just look or discuss on what we can get from these ideologies in our job. Okay, and then basic economics, okay, talk about that. Okay, this is the one that I wanted to talk about. This is the most colorful slide of the day. It is not, okay, not too many colors, but there are so many things that we can discuss. It would take forever just to explain this. But you, as a research analyst, you are being asked to do some oh, by the way, if I'm taking these are halls. That's because I have cough, because when it's cold, I have a congestion of the bronchi, and this is why I have to take this. I do apologize if I take these. These are not candies, okay? No, that's why. It's preventing me from coughing sometimes. Okay, so now coming back. So this is important because it's exactly all of the interactions between the government, people, and the corporations. We need to know these interactions in order to be able to do research in society. So first of all, I will try to talk about this in 5 minutes because it's also self-explanatory. Government. In Canada, we have 3 levels of government: federal in Ottawa with few ministries, and we have now provincial governments. They do have, again, several ministries as well. One ministry which is different, which is quite common, is the Minister of Health, where in Ottawa or in the federal government, Minister of Health is mainly dealing with the registration of the drugs, with the inspections for the manufacturing facilities, etc., for the vaccines, for example. But when you go to the provincial level and you deal with Minister of Health, their job is public health. So campaigns for vaccination, paying for the OHIP, for the hospitals, to the doctors, dealing with or managing the public health. Now the rest, of course, we don't have a Minister of Education federal. Each province has its own Minister of Education, for example. Again, I'm not going to go into detail too much. What I would like to talk about now is that 3 levels are federal, provincial, and municipal in Canada. In the US, of course, it's federal, state, and local. In other countries, you do have other levels of government. It's okay. Wherever you are, you have a government that is producing services, that is also producing products. You also have, again, now, those services that are being given maybe to other institutions in order to sell them or to provide them. For example, Service Ontario is, for those who may not be in Ontario yet, for example, in Ontario, which is one of the provinces of Canada, we do have the government that is dealing with the plates for the cars or the car insurances, or for, I don't know, some type of other services like a passport services. We don't go to the government to do that. We go to offices that are being given the mandate by the government to work, so to get our information, to submit them to a specific office or a specific organization within the government, and then all of these different passports are being printed. They are sent back to those offices, so to Service Ontario offices, and then they will be distributed. So here we have an intermediary service, which is okay, but this is what we have now. It was just an example. In many places, you're not going directly to the government. You may be having those services being given the mandate from the government to operate on behalf of the government. Now, why I talk about that? That was just an example of services and products that the government is selling. And then what they get? Revenue. We also have governments who, in some countries, again, they own their oil, they own their gold. For in some other countries, we have countries where the government doesn't own the oil. They have oil, like the oil sands, for example. They have their oil, But these oil wells, but they are now being rented to another country for 99 years. Again, I don't give you examples. You can find them easily on internet as well or other sources. But what I'm saying here is that now the government owns some resources, natural resources as well. There is a natural resources market. Now the government in South Africa, for example, for the diamond that they have owned by the state. So they sell them and then they get the revenue. On the other side, we do have all of us working, and then we pay taxes to the government, and the government collects those taxes. What they do with the tax, they are going to have now revenue from their tax and of course from their service and product that they're selling. This amount of money is going to be redistributed every year as a budget to different areas or places in the country. If we are in a country like Canada, again, Government of Canada is going to distribute this money to different provinces, and those governmental, again, provincial governments, they will now distribute based on their own ideology for managing or governing the population in that province. They are going to have different priorities for giving different fundings to different associations or areas in their own province. This is how it works. Now, for you as a research analyst, you need to understand that structure. Okay, you need to know how the government, or in each country, depending on which country you are, because this course is international as well. Of course, we are international anyways. We need to know how the government is working. Now, depending on if this is a communist government, if this is even a dictatorship, if this is, I would say, a capitalist country, for example, of course, the strategies or the policies for being used in order to distribute this money, where this money goes, how we are going to run the society, how we are going to, again, grab or take back the tax to be able to refund again the next year. These are politics that are being written or followed by different ideologists in different parts of the world. I don't go into that detail again because we are not in political sciences. But what I'm saying is that that was one part. So when you look into the inner circle, you see the government in the slide, you see the government, federal, state, you see different revenues and inputs, you see taxes, you see public goods and services, you see revenues and outputs. You understand now very well. Now, for example, for the resource market, government is going to, of course, get inputs from the resources or the market, and then it's going to generate revenues. But those revenues are now being given to different areas in the society. What does it mean? It means that when the government is taking the tax, they are going to distribute it. They will give it to different organisms. They will first give them to their ministries. Ministries, they do have thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. So they distribute the money as well. Now those employees are being on different projects, different services. Sometimes there are services that we give to the society. Sometimes this is research, for example. There are so many activities that we do, of course, in the different countries, but they're all having different groups, different organizations that are managing those activities, and those organizations, they are receiving funds from the government for providing those services. So you see, this is a money circulation. Now, within the money circulation, I'm going to ask you to look into the second circle, which is in pink. I would say it's pinkish, where we have the households, because when the government is paying the salaries or the organizations, we have now people. They have these are households. Those peoples are also going to have their inputs into the natural resources, into the labor, of course, because they give their labor, They give also their knowledge of entrepreneurship. So they are going to make new systems in order to, again, produce more services, more products, and then to get revenues. And then from the revenue that they get, if they make a profit, then they are going to pay, again, some amount of that profit as a tax to the government, and the government is going to receive that tax, and then the next year they are going to distribute it again to different areas in the society. So this is what you needed to understand, and this is the topic of today's class. The outer sister now, circle, we talk about the money income, so the rent, wages, interest, profits. Then we talk about, now the consumers are getting the money, we talk about money spent by consumers, because us as a consumer, we are going to get our salaries, and then we are going to go to the product market, that we are going to buy, of course, some products or services. Don't forget that those product markets, they are still receiving services and giving money to the government for other services, but they also give us some services or products, and we are also getting that as well. So us, we also pay taxes on those products and services, and the product market is also receiving the tax that they will then pay back to the government. I'm talking about, of course, the Canadian system here. Now, we can also have businesses where at the bottom here you can see this. So for business, they also have their costs, their revenues, and if the revenue is higher than the cost, they are going to make profit. And if they're having profits, they are going to pay taxes. Taxes that will go back to the government, that will then, again, grab them, keep them, and then redistribute them to the society, to people, to corporations, to different markets, of course. And this is a cycle, this is a kind of iteration that is happening all over and over every year. This is the relationship, of course. I'm talking about the business, of course, here, and the economy only in between, again, these different stakeholders. Now, obviously, we do have external factors as well. We have global factors that affect the economy of one country. We also have our competitors for different markets. We also have our allies that will allow us to maybe keep a handle on the market, and, for example, controlling the price of a product. For example, the price of gold is being controlled, okay? And this is because of the fact that a few countries, they did put this in the stock market, and as a stock market, the price of the gold is now being managed by by the stock market, of course. However, before, I would say 60, 70 years ago, it wasn't working that way. Anyways, these are different types of evolutions. I don't go into detail, because, again, we can really go into detail for all of these different topics of conversation. At the end of the day, I would say now, you need to understand what is the relationship between individuals, corporations, and, of course, economy, and the government. Okay, so my friends, I'm done with, again, today's lecture. I would say introduction. The remaining slides are just about unemployment. You can also read that. What about the economic system, free, mixed, and planned economies? You also have a discussion for that you can always complete. Now, again, for deadlines, I also told you where are the deadlines. Now I'm going to close this. Not close, okay, I can do that, of course. And I'm going to go back to our class. Okay, perfect. So that was our today's lecture, the first one. I hope that you all, again, like that. I hope so. And I hope that you also find the content of the website precise, concise, and clear. Any question, please let me know. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to pre-record the lecture, again, maximum 10, 20 minutes maximum for the next week. I'm also going to post that in a place. I'm going to tell you where to go to be able to find these recorded sessions. And then we will come back to class. Those who can come, that would be perfect, of course, in order to go over your questions and to have some very interesting discussion topics. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording now, and if you have any question, I will be delighted to answer, my friends.